brings us actually nicely on to the Arsenal segment of the show.
Ooh.
We're going to be talking Chelsea as well.
Look at the smile on the Lawless's face the minute you said Arsenal. He can't wait.
You know why? Because I'm like,
I haven't seen that smile.
Because we've got an influx of Arsenal fans, and we know how just reasonable they are when we're talking about their club. We know how.
I think Potsy's view is a very, very level-headed. You know, over there at the 12th man.
Yeah, most of them. Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you. They've obviously had a boost today. Ben White's back, which I think is important for them because I think being defensively resolute, defensively strong in the next 5 to 6 weeks, especially, is going to be very important for them. But do you think Arsenal are going to fight back? Or Lawless, do you think they may collapse from this point? How do you see Arsenal moving forward on the field of play with the Martinelli and Havertz injury adding to the already missing Jesus and Saka?
Yeah, it's interesting. First off, shout out to Selective for that comment. Why Scout recommended the restaurant for Don. Don's looking up restaurants from Why Scout.
No, that's a great comment.
That's right. I couldn't let that one go without a comment on it. But yeah, Ben White is a big coming back is a big boost defensively. But for them, I can't see them having enough to mount a serious threat to Liverpool. I think they'll still chug along and pick up enough points to probably finish second still. But it's going to be a big ask for them to, with the players that they've got out, even though, like I said, like Martinelli, Havertz haven't been at their best this season. The drop-off now between who's next is going to be a lot bigger. So, yeah, I can't see them pushing Liverpool now. Even the gaps, I know the gap, 7 points now? That's a lot bigger than it looks, you know.
So you don't rate Marino playing in the 9 being the new Fellaini, apparently. That's what I'm being told. No, I swear that's what I'm being told. I'm not giving my opinion. That's what Arsenal fans, not all of them, but some Arsenal fans have been saying. I think Gal said it on this channel yesterday as well.
Gal says a lot of things. Gal said
he's not the only one. I swear, I'm not even joking.
I saw him say that Liverpool have been lucky with injuries, and it's like, okay, but Arsenal weren't lucky with injuries for the past 2 seasons, no? And we weren't able to comment on that they were just lucky with injuries. So, and it's very interesting, actually, with these injuries. This is a little sidestep, but I've seen Postecoglou get a lot of blame for Tottenham's injuries, the frequency and the amount of injuries Spurs are getting. I'm not seeing that same blame towards Arteta.
Guess what, Lawless? 3 of their major injuries are hamstring injuries. And you know when it's hamstring injuries is because of what? It's because of conditioning. Either a player is not conditioning well, or they're just being trained too hard, or just playing too many games. Because I swear, Martinelli hamstring, Havertz hamstring. By the way, Havertz hamstring while training in Dubai. What the hell?
The magical Dubai training that just
like what happened over there. I would love to see. I need to see footage of that training. What the hell was going on? And I'm not blaming Arteta. At the end of the day, there's coaches that take care of training anyways. So I'm just saying I'd be curious to see what the hell happened in that training. But then obviously Saka, we know Saka's probably the one that I blame Arteta for the most because it's just how much he overplayed him since he was a teenager until now. But other than that, you're absolutely spot on. We talk about Ange Postecoglou and his tactics injuring his players. Why are we not talking about Arsenal as well? Because freakish injuries, I feel like some people disingenuous sometimes and they talk about injury-prone players. Sometimes the injury has nothing to do with a previous injury. Like if you had a bad calf and then the next game, someone just busted your head open and you got a concussion. I can't call you injury-prone. You just got unlucky with a freak injury compared to what used to happen to you. But you look at Arsenal, a lot of the injuries are similar right now. Why? Is there no proper rotation? Is the squad depth not enough? But regardless of all that, I mean, let's just bring it back to the original question that Terry asked. Are they going to be able to push Liverpool for the remainder of the season? I'll be honest, with the little frame, the little window that's left, which is about, 15 games, I think, until the end of the season, and the type of injuries that they have, until they got Saka and Martinelli back, which is in 5 games still, I'll be honest, I don't see how they could keep up. We talked about their struggles with Havertz, who was deemed not good enough, Martinelli, who was deemed not good enough. A lot of the players that got injured, bar Saka, obviously, a lot of players look at them and are like, we need improvements on them. Now you lost these players. So not only are these players that are not good enough are playing for you, they're actually not there. you're going to have to resort to new ideas. And I don't think the new ideas that they're going to do right now is going to help them to push for this league. I'll be honest.
Even
I'm not
with
going to
Saka,
expect a
there
massive
was a
drop
gap.
off. I just don't see how they could do it. I generally don't.
They had a full fit squad, Saka and Havertz, Martinelli, all these players, like their fullest fit squad. There was still that 8, 9,
There's still holes in that
7
front line,
gap. Yeah, they were still dropping points like on a regular basis. So to now expect without those players that they're going to find a way to push Liverpool and maybe have a chance of even winning the league, that I've seen some Arsenal fans still hold out hope for. I think that's a madness. I think that.
Let me ask you this, Lawless, then. Who are you blaming for this more? Because I see a big group blaming Arteta, a big group blaming the board and the people that were supposed to back Arteta, and obviously there's some rational people that are just like blaming a multitude of people. Who do you blame?
I think there's got to be a shared amount of blame, right? Because at the end of the day, Arteta, I think, made it clear, and I don't necessarily disagree with this sentiment that I don't want any striker. I don't want just any player. I don't want bodies in. I want players that are going to come and make it for the long term. And I kind of get that because Potter said that and I backed it. However, the difference is like we're looking to next season anyway. We're not going to achieve anything this season, right? So that is a big gamble for Arteta when you're in the Champions League, it's still in the title race, and those bodies, while maybe long term, they're not good enough. You're making a decision short term to say, nah, like we're not going to do it for the league. Now you can blame the board if they're not stumping up the money to go and get the Oshermans or the Yokereses or even any of these to pay over the odds, right? That's where the blame is for them. If you think they should be paying over the odds for players in January, then you can blame them, right? They should put down 80 million on a player or 6 million in January. That's the only way you can blame, because I don't think they said, nah, we're not getting any players in. I just think it came down to not wanting to pay over the odds, Arteta not wanting bodies in, and now we're in that place. So they both have to get equal blame. They haven't replaced Edu, and I think that power has probably just gone to Arteta because it seems to be Arteta and Edu partnership, and now they've not replaced him, and I think Arteta's just keeping a lot more of that power to himself. So I think anyone that's saying it's just Arteta or it's just the board, I think are just not seeing the bigger picture.
Yeah, I don't know the hierarchy. I know you want to move on there. I don't know the hierarchy, obviously, of how the decisions are being ran at that club. I'm not in the board with them, so I don't know what it is. At the end of the day, the one thing I can guarantee you, and everyone should agree on this, whether you're Arteta in or out, this is just a complete incompetence and complete failure to prepare from the board, to not be prepared in a season like this where you should be pushing for the title, to have proper reinforcement, let alone improvements that you should have gotten in January. And look at you now, obviously, when injuries happen and they're unfortunate, you know the famous saying, failure to prepare is preparing to fail. And I think that's what Arsenal from top to bottom have done this season.
Yeah, we had a saying in my first proper team I worked with at Barclays. There was a saying that one of my bosses, Paul Jardine, I hope you're well, mate, he used to have, and it was poor planning produces piss poor performance. Probably not allowed to say that in the bank anymore. You probably get done in the woke category. Hello, mate, you all right? I'll be out in about 10-15 minutes, okay? All right. Oh, he's come to get his picture he gave me. It's a nice picture. There it is. Look, there you go. Go on. I'll be out in a little while, all right? Go on, big man. Be careful. So, yeah, look, the problem I have with a lot of this conversation is that it becomes really, like I've said, I've criticized the board because they should have done more in January. I think the manager should have probably pushed harder in the summer for players. And maybe if he only had the choice of being able to bring 3 in, I think now he maybe should have looked at maybe Calafiori wasn't needed. Maybe another attacker over Calafiori or Moreno now looks like a good shout. Like that's the right thing that they should have done. The problem with the conversation is that you need to use a lot of hurty words for certain Arsenal fans or rivals to say you're criticizing people. Secondly, everything becomes a little bit tribal, even within the Arsenal fan base. So it's, okay, this is a chance to have a go at KSE. So they ignore everything else. I love Arteta, though. I'll leave him alone. There are people that hate Arteta. This is my chance to ride Arteta hard here and make it all about him. where I think there's a combination here, because I think in the summer, I'd put more blame in the summer on Arteta than I would in the January. Because in the January, he's lost Saka, he's lost Jesus. I don't think he's sitting there and saying, we are fine how we are. I think there may have been a list of players that were available. I just get the feeling that the board weren't prepared to spend what was necessary to bring in their main targets in that month. That is where I won't hold a manager accountable. Even if, oh yeah, but he's wasted 750 million. It's irrelevant. Your club should still be buying good players for your football club. It doesn't matter if say you go and bought Osimhen and then your manager still fouls and then he gets sacked, which is what they want, these people. You're still left with a brilliant striker. That shouldn't be an issue in any way, shape, or form. Sorry, my dog's crying. Be quiet, please, Rock. So it's one of these things where, like, the conversation becomes so hard because it's driven so much with ideology and people's polarized preferences. I need the manager out, so this is a chance to ride it hard. But you have actually having a conversation about the problems. So I think there's blame right across the board for the scenario that Arsenal find themselves in. But there was an opportunity this January for over 4 weeks to spend some money and to rectify the issue. So no matter what the mistakes were from Arteta this summer or last summer with what he did or didn't buy or flops that he's bought, there was a chance to address it this window and they didn't do it. So you have to look at that. If it's my business and it's like, oh yeah, KJ made a big mistake. He hired the wrong editor. We wasted money. We missed out. But I've got the chance now to get a better editor in. I can make that decision and go, do you know what? Let's hire a better one that I found. If I don't sanction that and we just stick with the bad editor that KJ's hired, it moves away from being KJ's mistake to mine because I had the chance to rectify it. But I've gone, it's okay. We'll continue with what we've got. That's why I can't put this January directly on Arteta. I look at the board and I think to myself, use your brains, engage your brains here. For me, it's a financial decision they've made and not a footballing decision. There's no way they've looked at that squad and gone, that's good enough on a footballing level. I don't believe Arteta has looked at it and gone, that's good enough on a footballing level. I think what they have done is say, we're not prepared to pay the asking price of our targets in January. We'll wait until the summer when they're cheaper. And I think that was wrong on the Arsenal fans. The Arsenal fans have been shortchanged there. And that is what should be called out more than anything else. Yes, there's historical blame on the manager, which I agree with. But it could have been addressed in January. And I think that personally, I think that's on the board more so than anyone else. The NBA is coming to Manchester. Brilliant.
Yeah, they're signing a contract to bring NBA games to Manchester starting next season.
I'm sure what that'll be at the MEM Arena, I assume. So there we go. Which
I wonder.
I better not see any of you guys there. Anyone who told me to stick to NBA, you better not go to NBA games.
The difference is though, we don't try to change American sport culture and bring new things into it. We just enjoy it for what it is. You see, we don't say get rid of the halftime show. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You guys try to add that into our shit. That's a different stuff.
It's true.
I mean, I didn't really think of all that. I was just trying to take a quick diss at them.
No, I'm having a dig. I'm having a dig back. But yeah, like,
I just imagine Side TV reactions from a game in Manchester in the car park.
Oh man, can you imagine?
Imagine that would be amazing.
That, though, like, I was listening. I didn't realize this, that a lot of people, the coach of the Eagles. This is one thing fans should be listened to, but they were calling about a year ago, according to the commentators. They were saying a year ago the Eagles fans were calling for their coach to be sacked.
Yeah.
And then
I've heard a lot of bad things about these Eagle fans. Apparently, they're the scumbags of the NFL.
So, I don't like Philly. I'm sorry if anyone's from Philly. I don't like you guys.
I've heard a lot of bad things.
I don't drive into Philly. I don't associate with Philly. I don't go that side of the state at all.
That's
I stick to New York. I don't like them. I really don't like them, bro. I go to Philly. I don't like Philly.
I hear you on that, mate. I do. And super.